Talk about here, AJ, is Ladd's coach, Jim West, who is under fire for some of his quote-unquote harsh coaching tactics, AJ. He was saying things like, all right, like first round, he was chill. He was all like, hey, all right, you know what I mean? First time back, we in here. Let's do these couple adjustments, get into it. Round 2, he says, okay, shit just got real, dude. You need to fucking fight. Like, what is going on? Round 3 comes on, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. You need to do this, X, Y, and Z. Round 4, more of the same. Round 5, fucking, go. Just go. And shout out to Mike Perry, where he was all like, I hate when my coaches are just telling me to go. Like, you go, motherfucker. Like, I'm not trying to get hit right now. Like, so maybe Aspen Ladd was thinking a little bit of that. Dumont is big. She is powerful. But I need to ask you this, man. Do you think the coaching of Jim West was uncalled for? A lot of people were saying that it was, let me just say it like this. A lot of people were saying that he is taking like a parent approach to Aspen Ladd and that he is demoralizing his fighter as opposed to helping her in the cage. Give me your response, and then I'm going to tell you about a former UFC champion who has a lot to say about Jim West. So give me your response first.
Yeah, I'm glad you're bringing that one up, Derek. I think it all depends on the mental state of Aspen Ladd.
Sure.
I'm gonna personalize this one a little bit. One of my close buddies, man, he used to be a little bit chubbier. I won't drop his name, he might even want me to, but either way, he used to be a little bit chubbier. We'd always give him shit. We talk shit, clown him a little bit. This dude had one of the biggest come ups because of the bullying, because we were fat shaming him. Now this dude's 6'2", just jacked with big legs, like looking good, man. I think it all depends on the mental aspect of the people that's having it done to them. Where in this fight, I think the words of Jim West were perfect. Because in the breakdown, in the fights, in the 1s and 2s, we didn't really know what Aspen Ladd was doing. She wasn't fighting her fight until round 5. But it all depends. Coming from a coaching background, if you're able to fire the fighter up, you're able to get that burn going. You're able to make them excited and want to okay, yeah, that's the way you can go about it. Sure, the aggression in your tone makes a lot of sense. But for the words, I think they were perfect. But we just saw in Aspen Ladd's eyes, she wasn't even wanting to look him in the eyes. She just wasn't didn't look excited, didn't look passionate to be there. And I think that's where a lot of the heat's coming from on this one, because I think the words were perfect. She just didn't know what she was doing. She just kept throwing those little ones, and she would move her head and not really throw anything, where all they were asking for is throw that 2, throw it from the backside. And when she circles out, hit her with the check, left hook. We didn't see that at all happen. Get her to the ground, shoot a single leg, do something. She had her press up against the cage the whole time, was trying to get that high crotch going, but instead of dropping down to a knee, dropping down for an actual takedown, she stuck there and played. So overall, it depends to me on the how the person handles the words. Because I'm a fan, man. I don't think words can ever hurt me. You tell me the truth. I want to know the truth so I can do something about it. If Aspen Ladd isn't that kind of it doesn't have that kind of mental fortitude, you're just being a bully, and no one likes to see that going forward. What do you think?
I thought that was a really great assessment, man. And I will say this, coming from the coaching background, as you were saying, right, you do know that there is no one-size-fits-all approach in coaching. That does not work. You need to cater your advice to your fighter. So that's one thing that Bisping had said. He was like, listen, I don't know their relationship enough to really make the harsh comment of saying that he is being an asshole, that he's not saying the right things, because if he knows that's what motivates her, well, then do it. Of course, you like it when she's winning, but we don't like it when she's losing. So in between round 2 and 3 against Yana Kunitskaya, he basically did the same thing. What did Aspen Ladd do? She got motivated. She knocked out Yana Kunitskaya, right? Left hook, got the job done. It was all praise and all that when that happened, but now she's losing. It's an issue. So I see an issue with that, AJ. And then let me give my comment on this. I agree. I do believe that the words of Jim West resonated to me. All the advice, the actionable advice was all there. Now, the issue that I do understand, because I felt it a little bit too, was the tone. And I know, AJ, this is the fight game. What the fuck are we talking about? Tone? Oh, you have too harsh of a tone? You're getting punched in the face. Like, what are we talking about here? However, I do agree that the tone was more of a, I'm reprimanding you, I'm yelling at you, you're upsetting me. So that maybe did lead to a little bit of the dang, like as if it's like a father-daughter kind of situation. Because in coaching, man, it gets weird, and that's how it is oftentimes. It's very much like a parent-son or parent-daughter type of situation, whether it's male or female. Nonetheless, if that fires her up, then okay, cool. You know, it is what it is, man. But in front of the camera, there's no crowd. You know, you could hear everything that they're saying. It's just like, you know, I don't know, man. I don't think Aspen Ladd was responding to the advice very well. I do think she was getting it in her head, but I think that she was doing too much of the thinking. I think it made her think too much instead of just going. So when he would tell her, you need to do this, you need to do this, all this very technical advice, sometimes that's not what you want to hear when you're in the heat of the battle. You want to hear something that maybe is more of the motivating type, you know, just go in there, you know, give it, you know, all that good stuff. But it's a fine line, man. And when neither of us really have the status, the symbol, we're not there. This is not our spot to judge necessarily, right? But it is something interesting to talk about. And the reason why, AJ, is because I want to then compare this to Valerie Laredo when she fought and got defeated by Hannah Guy, and her coaching advice was very pointed. Didn't have the same tone, but it did have the notion of, you're losing. Stop throwing spinning attacks. Like, you need to hit her with like all these combos. You need to land at least 50 punches in this round if you want to win. All that, like basically all the bullshit you're doing, stop it. Do what I need you to do. We train for this. Let's rock. This is basically the same situation, but forgive me because I don't remember Valerie Laredo's coach's name off the top of my head, but he did not nearly get the same backlash as a Jim West did. So overall, with all that being said, long rant aside, what do you think about that, AJ?
I mean, I think it all comes down to how the fighter responds, because as a coach, you know your fighter so much, and we just didn't see that response in a positive aspect for Aspen Ladd. It really did. I think you hit the nail on the head. It looked like she was being talked down to and being punished, and she was acting like she was being talked down to and didn't want to come back for it. Because if she's in there and that's the stuff that fires her up, yeah. But I think just in this one, she needed to know that somebody was in her corner supporting her and saw what she was seeing or saw what she was doing and needed to change it, instead of what the fuck are you doing? You know, because nobody, like, you can't, like, if somebody asked me that in a fight, I don't know, man, I'm fucking just swinging my hands, buddy. Like, you tell me what I'm doing. I don't know. Apparently it's not working. So yeah, it's hard to say, because if that's how Aspen Ladd responds, all credit. You know, that's who it is. That's how your coach should know you. You should have that relationship with your coach where he knows exactly how to talk to you to light that fire. But I think in this instance, instead of the demeanor of, I'm reprimanding you, he needed to be, you know, hey, what are you doing? This is how you need to fix it. Okay, here, I'm here. We did this together. You know what you can do. Let's get it going, instead of, what the fuck are you doing?
And that's actually part of the problem to me too, man. He was asking her questions, and I'm like, she's not going to answer your questions right now, bro. He's like literally looking at, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, as like, I asked you a question, answer me. And it's like, dude, she's trying to get her breather. She's about to go in and fight for another round. So that was a little problematic too. But let me tell you what a former UFC champion, a former UFC bantamweight champion, specifically with the nickname Cupcake that goes by the name Miesha Tate, what she had to say about Jim West, man. So she says, in a series of tweets, she says, quote, "This is abuse. What a douche," first and foremost, right? Then follows up by saying she would have done, so basically she was replying to a comment that says, well, I don't see the problem because, you know, he did that to her against Kunitskaya, and Kunitskaya, she ended up knocking her out, so this shouldn't be an issue, right? And Tate responded by saying, she would have done that without him. It's who she is. He will take credit for her win, but never for her loss. Trust me, she can only take so much of this abuse before it breaks her spirit. Just in a quick assessment of that, do you agree? Do you have any response? What do you think about that?
I don't necessarily agree, because like I said with my homie, the abuse, the talking down to made him change and like, yo, fuck this. I'm not standing for this shit. I'm gonna do something about it internally and personally. Where it all depends, again, like I said, on Aspen Ladd. I think this is a little bit of Miesha Tate speaking from her. If somebody was talking to her like that, she wouldn't be able to stand it. So that's where I think this is coming from. But it all depends on a case by case basis, as your coach knows you. It's hard though. It's really hard.
I agree with you, man. That does make a lot of sense, because it's not black and white. It really just depends on who you're talking to. Just like in any coaching situation, any leadership, if you want to be a personal trainer and you want to motivate somebody to go and get it in, you have to know how to press the certain buttons. Just all the great coaches in the world, they all know that, man.